Hey folks, Neil Beasley here. It is state championship time in Texas high school basketball. Let's get you warmed up. We're heading to San Antonio for the boys' state championships. Let's take a look at some Houston area teams heading to state in the lineup. No one in the state of Texas that didn't walk the halls of Bel Air High School could have dreamed the Cardinals would be in the state title game, but here we are. Bel Air shocked the state with a dominant 65-57 win over the state's number one team, San Antonio Brennan. That was in the state semis. And you know what? The game wasn't as close as the 8-point spread would have you believe. Saturday night at 7 p.m., the Cardinals, in their first ever state tournament, will take on Duncanville. Duke commit Shelton Henderson said no to prep schools because he wanted to help lead Bel Air to a championship. He is now one win away from fulfilling that prophecy. It'll be a tough hill to climb against the Panthers, but at this point, there is no doubting what Bel Air can do. Katy Jordan is on their way to their first state title as well. The Warriors, a relatively new school, will be facing Denton Geyer in the 6A Division II state championship, 5 p.m. Saturday. Defense has been Jordan's calling card all season, and it was again in the state semis against Harlan. They held the San Antonio team to under 40 points as the Warriors won it by 21. Jordan Holt and Ryan Fadika have been leaders for Jordan, and this game with Geyer should be evenly matched. Speaking of Houston ISD, two more teams have made it to state finals out of the school district. Wheatley will be playing Kennedale in the 4A Division II final, while Washington is back at state and they'll take on Kimball in the 4A Division I final. Wheatley took down Lamarck in the state semis, while Washington beat up Austin's LBJ. The Wildcats will be a favorite against Kennedale as their run-and-gun style is really tough to stop. Washington will need to pull out some stops to upset the number one ranked Kimball Knights, but 3 HISD in the state final is quite an accomplishment, and the entire school district should be proud.
The warm-up is brought to you by the Houston area Chevy dealers. Come in and test the all-new Silverado today. And by DQ for treats and eats before and after the game. Also by Parker University. Check out our bachelor's degree in strength and human performance today.
We caught up to a big-time athlete from the Houston area in this week's Recruiting Trail.
Nigel, mostly kind of that family environment and a coach that knows how to use a modern-day big man, kind of knowing how he's going to use me because I'm not going to be able to post up them 7'2", 50 guys, but being able to come off screens, both with the ball and off, and be able to shoot that thing is probably the best thing for me. Just kind of, like I said, just kind of being almost like a winged big hybrid, just kind of be able to play both sides on the ball, being able to defend all sides as well. On the court, I think I'm a hard-working guy, just kind of get it through the mud, just going to go get for rebounds, but on the offensive end, I'm kind of more stylish, kind of quick finish through, kind of weave through, pick a couple people, hit some jump shots, and hit a lot of spins. It's my favorite thing to do. Off the court, I'd probably just say, just kind of chill. I don't really try to do too much outside of the court, just try to live my life one day at a time, just all through God, He's going to have the right plan for me. Y'all got a winner, and that's what I'm gonna try to do. I'm gonna try to go win everywhere, every tournament, everything. ACC, it was what I'm trying to win, and the national championship is the ultimate goal. So it's what I'm really trying to do is just win. I'm trying to accomplish just winning state is the main thing for us. It's the main goal is just winning state and being a back-to-back champion and just making sure we get that done before I graduate. I want to leave a legacy of being the best player at St.Francis. I just know I am that right now. I just want to leave that legacy for many years to come until the next person who's even better than me so they can strive to be that. I want them to look up to someone that can be better than I'll say, oh, that guy went here. I want to be better than that guy. I want to put a high standard so they're even better than me and they can do better than me.
The warm-up is brought to you by the Houston area Chevy dealers. Come in and test drive the all-new Silverado today. And by Randall's, fresh foods, local flavors. Also by the UPS store, be unstoppable.
Our Ward Fasold caught up with state champion head coach Kiara Marshall of the Summer Creek Lady Bulldogs in the Hype.
All right, welcome to the Hype, and we're joined by Summer Creek head coach Kiara Marshall. You know what? Let me put a little respect on that name. We're joined by state champion Summer Creek head coach Kiara Marshall. How does that feel? How does that sound, first of all, and secondly, how does it feel to get that state championship? That your Lady Bulldogs have been there for the last several years, but you're the one that kind of pushed it over the edge and got that medal around your neck. So how's the whole thing feel right now?
It's still extremely surreal. I think this season has been met with um, a lot of adversity and ups and downs, and so to know that we finally were able to get over the hump at the right time, it's just an amazing feeling. But it's still so surreal right now.
I'll tell you what, you talk about the right time. Apparently, the right time is being down 18 in the third quarter. That's just about the right time to do stuff because, you know, we talked to senior head coach Nicole Collins, and she mentioned, hey, this team has made it here so many times, they're not going to give up. And that's exactly what your girls did not do, was give up. Talk about how that turned around, especially in the fourth quarter, where you just kind of applied pressure and did not let that foot off that gas.
Um, Unfortunately, I would say this season we've had slow starts in a lot of our games. It just kind of seemed like a theme for us. So this is not kind of being down and having to battle back. Are moments that we've had to do a couple of times in games this season, and they just fight. One thing about these kids, they understand how to win and they want to win more than anything. So I knew in that moment, although we went down big early, as long as we have time on the clock with my kids, I always have a chance.
You talked about slow starts. Well, heck, overall, as the season was a slow start, you started 6-9. Would you attribute that to three different coaches in 3 different years? Would you attribute to an elite schedule you put together? What would you, or maybe a combination of all of it? But when you were at 6-9, what were you thinking about this team? Did you think you'd be at this point at the end of the season?
Yes, I still thought we had the best team in the state, and because I knew what was in my gym when we came. Um, this season, something that is really, really special about these girls is that they didn't return. They only returned 2 kids last year from the team that went to state. So a lot of these kids that you guys saw last night, either they were not on varsity last year, or they were in 8th grade, or they were on the freshman team, but they weren't varsity returners besides Kennedy and Taya. Those are 2 that were there with them last year, but the rest of the kiddos, they just weren't. So our slow start, I attribute to those things. You know, we were really, really young. Kennedy went out with a injury. We didn't get her back until mid-December. And in the midst of that slow start, I think our kids were young and they had to learn how to play at the varsity level. And we decided to play a difficult schedule. When I first got the job, we called Duncanville and set up that game the opening day. We played Duncanville. And so that was our my kids' first varsity game ever was against Duncanville. And then we didn't let up from there. We went Duncanville, and then you had a great South Springs team this year. Then you went to the tournament. You saw Judson Brenham, you know. So we scheduled a very difficult schedule for a reason, for them to gain that experience. And in the midst of that, we learned, we grew, we figured some things out. So by the end of the year, there wasn't much that we hadn't seen. And you saw that in this 6-game stretch that we went through in the playoffs. We handled it very well because of the learning that we did at the beginning of the year. So that slow start contributed to being young, a really tough schedule, and just having to figure some things out early.
Well, it was awesome, Coach. Congratulations. Thanks for bringing it home for Houston, bringing it home for Humble ISD. And good luck next year. Now we're going for that repeat. So I appreciate it, Coach.
Hey, thank you so much.
Hey, that'll do it for today's show. Thanks for joining us. If you can get out to the Alamo Dome for state, do it. If not, hey, we got you covered this Saturday night, 11 p.m. on KHOU 11.